those of us here will consider the Virginians and the people all throughout the South who were so adversely affected by Hurricane Helena. And also, please keep your thoughts to those people in Florida that are getting ready to get hit by Hurricane Milton. So let's take a moment of reflection, please. Thank you. If you will rise and join us in the pledge, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Hicks if she would.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda? I would like to ask for since I cannot make a motion to do so, I would ask a motion from council to consider moving the closed session hearing that we have for the end of the meeting up forward to where we will have it in lieu of introductions and presentations.
So move.
Second. For which one? There's two closed sessions.
Well, it's the whole thing.
For the
We'll
whole
do the
thing.
whole thing.
And we're moving it where?
For presentation, we're moving it up. And part of the reason is we've got a couple of public works guys that are working 18 hours a day. We'd like to get them out of here. Maybe they can go home and get an extra hour of sleep on us. So, any discussion?
Is this because the hope of voting on something?
Nope. It's, as I said, it's a discussion on this subject, so we can get two of the parties, the public works people, out of here before 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight. Totally. Madam Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hicks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins.
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
Very good. That is 6-0. We have 3 public hearings on schedule for tonight. The first is a street vacation request from Derek R. Lancaster for the vacation of 2 existing strips of land dedicated as public street right-of-way and located on the southern side of Bradford Street, northwest, tax parcels 525A-31A and 46, between 910 and 940 Bradford Street northwest. Is there anyone here to address this issue? Hearing none, and before I close the public hearings, I will note that Mr. Lancaster owns both of those properties.
That adjoin.
Huh?
That adjoin. The adjoining properties.
You know, I'm kind of confused on that one. Can you?
Yeah, if you.
Maybe bring up the map.
Car care,
Yeah.
and there's the road that goes up between his garage and the other garage that he owns. It's that road going up through there, and it's right away, he wants to vacate it so that it become basically his street and he can improve it. Is that what we're looking at, Randy?
Basically, that's the case.
But he owns 910 and 940.
He owns the adjoining properties.
And he owns the land behind that too?
He does not own the land at the end of that, although that does have, I guess, another access through the Windsong Phase 2 subdivision.
Where is that entrance at?
It would be to the south of this property. You can't really see it on this map, but it's basically a stub out from the adjoining Windsong subdivision.
So the land on the bottom is not gonna be landlocked if we were to do this?
Correct.
All right, hearing none, I will close this public hearing. We have a rezoning request by Robert P. Fralin and a conditional use permit request by Robert P. Fralin, registered agent for F&D Land LP, applicant for property owner to rezone property located on the west side of Moose Drive Northwest and College Street Northwest intersection, tax parcel 556-A-9, consisting of approximately 16.330 acres with A, agriculture, to B and B3 general business, to R3 family residential. Property is designated as residential in the future land use map for the 2013 comprehensive plan. Anyone here to address this issue?
Good evening, Mayor Barber, and ladies and gentlemen of the Town Council. My name is Brian McCahill. I'm the COO of RP Fralin Inc., and I just wanted to say a few brief words before I turn it over. With us from our company is Wynn Phillips, our operations manager. She'll be giving a brief presentation after I'm done. Robert Fralin, our president, and Steve Simonis of Balzer. So just a brief words. I've been with the business for over 9 years now, and we've gone through a lot of changes that I'm very proud of. We've been fortunate to recruit some higher quality and a larger staff to address our home building operation, which has become a relatively small part of what we do now, but we've got our warranty callback down to a record low. We've also built up our leasing maintenance staff and accounting staff, and I think our customer service and our maintenance turnaround time is also at record lows if you look at kind of our progression over the last few years. So we hope to continue to do that if this is approved here in Christiansburg. And so I'm going to turn it over to Wynn now to give, again, a very brief presentation on the project, and then Steve can answer any technical questions. Thank you very much.
Good evening, council members. My name is Wynn Phillips. I am the operations manager at R. Fralin Associates. I've had the pleasure of working for the company for about 4 years and started out in home building, so I know a little bit about our homes and our product, especially in the Christiansburg area. And over the past year, I've been helping our property management division build up our systems and processes, coach our team, and really hopefully produce a better product for our tenants and, of course, the surrounding areas and communities that they're a part of. Bigger version of this. That is perfect. I can see that. We will work with this. Okay. So a little bit more about our company, of course, Kensington Apartment Homes overview. Just an example of here on the second slide, about halfway down the page, a new Madison tenant. You guys may or may not be familiar with our Madison apartment project off of Pepper's Ferry. That is our newest, beautiful, thank you so much, our only multifamily property here in the Christiansburg area, but I'm proud to say that we have a lot of police tenants, and I think this review speaks to how our staff has grown and how they're serving our current tenants and certainly our future tenants of this new project. A few testimonials from other properties throughout the area. Our staff being supportive, our maintenance staff being responsive. These are just a few comments from our tenants across our multiple properties. Some more, I'm not going to read this for you guys in depth, but some more satisfied tenants and that our team has worked very hard to care for, respond to, and make sure they're taken care of across our apartments and our rental homes. Company as a whole, our Fralin Associates Property Management, we have approximately 1,200 residences under management before this project. It's a mix of apartment homes, which makes up the majority of what we currently have for rentals, but also townhomes and single-family homes. A little bit about the map, our geographic footprint. We are here in Christiansburg. We have a lot of units and properties, of course, in the Roanoke area, and then you see that we're starting to spread our reach a little bit north into the Waynesboro area, and then also the Lynchburg area. This is a rendering of an example of what our apartment building 24 unit may look like. It's a mix of masonry and siding, 3 stories, which we'll expand on in Steve's presentation as well. And then, of course, I would encourage you to take a drive by Madison Apartment Homes if you have not. You can see that finished product as well. Interior finishes, 9-foot ceilings, appealing for an apartment renter. Luxury vinyl plank flooring, one of my favorite floorings. It's so durable and beautiful. Quartz countertops, and then stainless steel appliances in your like open live-in kitchen area. And then the next slide shows you some additional interior finishes. The full kitchen, bedrooms, carpeted, bathroom, and then laundry is in all of our apartments as well. We will have a clubhouse and pool in this facility as we do at many of our other communities. We have 24-hour card access to the fitness center and a furnished clubhouse available for tenants, and then pools are open during the pool season for an amenity our tenants can enjoy. Here's an overview of the layouts. These buildings plan to be a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units. 1 bedroom unit, this is one of a couple of different varying layouts that we have. 755 to 770 square feet. 2 bedroom units, 1,109 to 1,125 square feet. Our location is uniquely benefited to the Christiansburg future resident. It's about equitably distanced between Radford or Blacksburg, so it's perfect for workforce commuters to live right here, but be able to get to work easily. I'm gonna let Steve go into more detail, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about this plan. This is just an overview of the concept that we have submitted for approval with this application today. You'll see that it's about 162 units, lots of parking, clubhouse and pool, I think laid out very well. Dumpster enclosures throughout the property, lots of sidewalk walkability, and then 2 entrances and exits out of the project. And we're back to the rendering. Can I answer anybody's questions? No?
So far, so good.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and your service to the town of Christiansburg, and I'm always here for you.
So far, so good. Doesn't set up well.
And then
We were waiting for
then
you.
there's development.
Then there's Steve.
Now we get into it.
So,
I turned that off. I
Oh, turn
didn't, no, well, you can turn it back on. I didn't know that I could do a presentation.
there we go, thank you. So Steve Simonis of Balzer and Associates, 80 College Street here in Christiansburg. I appreciate Brian and Lynn kind of going over the overview of the Fralin companies. They've obviously done a lot of work here in Christiansburg, as you all know, and been a long-time client of ours at Balzer. Wanted to give an overview of the project and give a little bit of background, and I'll try to be as quick as I ever am. So I'll point over on this side. So the property we're looking at, a little under 16 and a half acres. So Bishopsgate Road was installed in phase 2 of Kensington, which leads up to the water tank. We've got Mud Pike here on the south side of the drawing, West Main, Moose, College, Buffalo, and then Christiansburg Middle School up at the top of the page. Victory Restoration Church, which was built back in 2009, 2010. These are currently the Harkrader townhomes that Roger Woody is building right now that were approved by council back a year and a half or so ago. We'll come back and we'll talk about this a little bit. Good Samaritan Hospice is down here on Moose, and this road was put in when Good Sam was constructed. Robert and his team built this building for Good Samaritan. We'll come back, and that's where our location for our access road is. But just wanted to give everybody a sense of where we are on the property. Just zooming in a little bit on this, see we've got sewer that's already extended through the property. We've got water and sewer out in Moose Drive as well. There's an existing stormwater management facility that was on site that was part of the Good Samaritan project as well. I'm actually going to go back. So just to jog everybody's memory back, we first started this zoning back in 2006 on property that was owned that was in the town, which basically follows the north side of Diana Drive. So everything over here was in the town. A few years later, there was a boundary line adjustment done with Montgomery County that moved the line down here, so all of this property came into the town at that time. As we've gone through the iterations of the Kensington process over the years, we've made adjustments to the plan, adjustments to the proffers. Most recently, we did an adjustment to the proffer for Kensington. Originally, Diana Drive was going to extend down this gravel drive right now, so the town uses this gravel drive to access up to the water tank. They do have access this way as well. So this was going to extend down, tie into Buffalo. As we started working on those plans several years ago, there's some, obviously, as we're all very familiar with over the last few days, with the work going on with our water system, there's one of the main transmission lines that comes out of the tank here and leads down this way. So when we started looking at road design, we got into situations where we're going to be cutting into some of those existing water lines. So instead of relocating and doing a lot of utility work here, we came back and adjusted the proffer statement to say that there would be a road connection through this piece of future development as part of Kensington. So you'll see that tonight. So with our layout, as Lynn mentioned, we've got a total density of 162 units and a mix of 7 buildings. As she also mentioned, these are a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units, very similar to the Madison. One thing that was interesting is they told me before we submitted, they're seeing about 50% of the people living in the Madison as one occupant dwelling unit. So they've got a lot of people either living in 1 bedrooms or one person living in the 2 bedrooms using them as home offices. So there's definitely a demand for those 1 and 2 bedroom units here in the Christiansburg market. So that's what we're proposing to build here as well. The access road, so again, Good Samaritan right there, the access road will be extended all the way through and pop back out to Bishopsgate Road. So that makes that full connection from the Kensington subdivision out to Moose as originally planned and proffered years ago. So that connection will be made. That will be a full public street, be built to public standards, turned over to the town. Sidewalks on both sides of the road, so there will be pedestrian access on both sides of this road. You can see in the master plan a lot, and Wynn mentioned this as well, a lot of sidewalks interior to the site. We're really hoping this is a very walkable community. With Moose Drive, that Moose would be improved as well on our side of the road with curb and gutter and sidewalk along here. There's already sidewalk across the front of Good Samaritan went in. Mr. Woody will be installing sidewalk along the Moose Drive section of his property. So any residents, families that are walking their kids to school or over to the middle school will have sidewalk access from the property line all the way up to the 4-way intersection at Buffalo and Moose and the school entrance. So we think that's going to be very beneficial to the homeowners and our tenants here and any families that there might be living there. We do have within the application 3 variances we've asked for. That should be in your application material. They're the 3 that we're asking for, similar to what we've done on other projects. The town code has some older language regarding apartments and development standards. One is you can't have more than 12 units in one building. So the design now on a lot of these buildings, you're putting more units in one building. That's saving costs. It's more efficient to build that way. So we asked for this variance on the Madison and some of the other more recent ones council has seen on Sunset, on the Verge, which is up at the top of Farmview Road. So that's one of the variances we're asking for. As I said, we've got 18 and 24 unit buildings on here. There's a setback requirement off of parking lots to the front of the building of 15 feet. We're asking for that to be reduced to 10. We think we're going to have it, but in case we have we need some flexibility as we actually get into the engineering and grading. So we've asked for a 5-foot variance on that, and then a building height of up to 50 feet. And again, that's consistent with some of the other applications we've asked for recently. As Wynn mentioned, a management association, Fralins Management Company will be maintaining the grounds, the buildings, pushing snow, and the parking lots, anything that's on site itself. The main road, that would be turned over to the town, so that would be long-term town maintenance as part of any public street. We did look at pulling buildings away. One of the good things about as a multifamily development here in this area is we don't really have any single-family neighbors right up against us. We've got a couple down here, but we've got a church, we've got storage buildings, we've got single-family and townhomes across the street, but as you can see, we're several hundred feet off of Moose Drive with our first building. So we've got a large section of open space, stormwater management before you get to the clubhouse and the pool. Again, a large section of open space here and one down on the western end of the property. We talked about sidewalks. The open space I just mentioned, as you all know, town code requires 400 square feet of open space per unit. So that's used for recreational and active and passive recreational and open space on the site. So between the pool, the open space areas we have here that we've shown, we're more than over the requirements on that. You can see that down here, we're about 3,000 square feet over what's required of the base minimum. The 2 access points we talked about, Bishopsgate Road and Moose, so that'll allow multiple points in and out of the property. Stormwater management, again, this is in the College Street Basin. So similar to what we did on the Woody property up here, is we over-detained in that stormwater management pond for Mr. Woody's project. We would anticipate doing the same thing here. That'll just help the downstream issues that are in college, you know, and will not impact, except to the better, any of the downstream improvements the town is doing right now as part of that CIP. So we'll be helping that with over detention in our stormwater facility right here. Vehicle parking is required to have 2 spaces per unit. That's 324. We've got 338, so we do have guest parking spaces planned that would be sitting, 2 spaces sitting at each of these buildings. Landscaping would be provided by code, and as you can see, we've also got some evergreen buffering that we would propose along this section right here, where it's a less dense and less intensity on the zoning, and as it backs up into some of our Montgomery County neighbors as well. Water and sewer usage, we provided those estimates to town staff and didn't hear anything back from engineering that those would cause any problems. Several trash and recycling enclosures scattered throughout the property to use. We did look at our trip generation to be sure the trips weren't going to kick us over into any traffic issues. We'll talk about one of those here in just a second. But as we talked about, this does provide good walkability to the middle school and cross connectivity between all the other properties here in the Kensington subdivision. We do have 3 proffers that we had offered. This is included in your information as well. Substantial conformance with our master plan. That the use would be for just the apartment complex uses that are shown, and that the main road here would be built and completed prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Last piece I'll touch on is the conditions. There were 8 conditions as part of the conditional use permit that's kind of traveling along with this rezoning request that staff and planning commission looked at. We've agreed with all those. So that is, again, it talks about the road, it talks about when open space areas should be complete and ready before the adjacent buildings are online, so we want to have open space ready for the residents when they move in. So the 8 conditions that were mentioned we're fine with. Over the last 48, 72 hours, we have, and I mentioned this to staff earlier today in an email, we would like to offer one additional condition tonight, if council sees fit to want to consider it. If not, it's okay with us, but we know there are concerns about Moose Drive, specifically in the mornings when bus traffic and drop-off traffic is coming in. So I had a conversation with the mayor this morning, and then had a follow-up conversation with the engineering director this afternoon. We would like to make a condition that on the stop sign here, we sign it with a restriction on left turn traffic from the hours of 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. in the morning. The buses are through, and the bell rings just a little before 8 o'clock, so your buses are already through that section. The kids have been dropped off. So what we're looking at is trying to discourage, residents here from trying to make that left turn during the heavy part of the school traffic, just to not conflict with bus traffic or other residents, or parents, coming back out. They still could come out Bishopsgate, come down Mud Pike, and go this way. If you all do remember, though, as part of the Harkrader Townhome project, we proposed a stub that would connect this parking lot and this future development. So that would be there as well. So there would be, the potential for, residents of this development here to come back out this way and get out to the main road without having to deal with school traffic, or folks from this development being able to come in and hit the 4-way stop sign at Buffalo in the school entrance. So we felt that was the safer way. So again, we don't want to put a pork chop in, which, those little pork chop shaped islands that direct all the traffic to the right. We feel it's important for people using this road to be able to take a left just during that peak hour in the morning with school traffic. We'd be open to putting some signage there to restrict that. The engineering director said that was fine on his account. So we're happy to make that a 9th condition if council would like to see it. If not, we'll pull it off the table, but wanted to throw it out there to council this evening. That is it for me. I will be happy to answer any questions.
One of the things that we talked about this morning, and I'm sure it's in one of your proffer statements, that there's no construction equipment allowed on College Street.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and so I'll just, since we are at a public hearing, I'll just read those real quick, if that's okay with you, Mayor.
Are any of these subsidized
So the 8 conditions as they're listed right now will be in substantial conformance with the master plan. The main public road between Moose and Bishopsgate shall be installed in the first phase of construction and completed prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Public sidewalks along Moose and on both sides of the new road shall be completed prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Clubhouse and pool shall be completed prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy. Proposed open space. The next 3, 5, 6, and 7 are the same. They just talk about when the open space adjacent to these buildings that they're in and seeded and ready to go when those buildings are getting ready to be occupied. And the last one is construction traffic related to the proposed development shall be prohibited from using College Street. All construction vehicles shall access the site via Moose Drive or other designated routes approved by the town to minimize disruption to residential areas. So the 9th one would be our left turn restriction if council wants to see that.
Where are your stormwater ponds over there? Because I know these ones are always filled up to the moon.
This one would be the bigger one, so that's the one that's existing right now, that serves Good Samaritan and the natural drainage that comes down this way, Ms. Hicks. So that blue line right there is what we anticipate it growing to be. It's gonna be a large facility there to handle the runoff and to over-detain it, as I was mentioning.
Randy, why is there what was the reason behind the 16 units per building? Was it 16?
It's 12.
12?
Was 12.
Yeah.
They're asking for a variance.
I think
Yeah.
that's probably just kind of more of a smaller apartment footprint. It probably is a little bit, I guess, maybe dated because apartment buildings have, I guess, tended to be larger in size. And I think the town probably has become more urban than when that was written, which was written probably, it's been in the code that way ever since I've been here. So it's probably been 30, 40 years at least in the code that way. Like I say, maybe it's an arbitrary number, although I think generally the size of apartment buildings tended to be smaller decades ago
And those were your standard
than
kind
it
of
does
3-story
now.
3-story walk-up garden-style apartments, 4 units on each floor. It was the standard
What
that
was
you
the
see.
size of this one? Can you go back to the plans?
So those are the unit plans, Ms. Hicks. So the buildings
Yeah,
themselves.
but the frontage of the building.
Picture of the buildings.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna be a 3-story building?
They'll still be 3-story. We just stretched it. We stretched it instead of having one center corridor that would access 2 units on one side of the corridor and 2 on the other. We split it up so we've got a multiple stairwells in each building. And again, it's the same product that you'll see out on 114.
So it's the same ones that we
Same basic
approved
product,
on?
yes, ma'am. Yep.
Any other comments or questions?
It's just a comment. I know up at the water tank, there's a gate up there now. Did y'all put that up or did the town do that?
At the very top of the hill?
Yes.
Yeah, so when we, as part of the proper that moved the main road from Diana down to where we're showing it now, we actually installed a trail. So there's a walking trail now that will go down that way, but we did put a bollard in there to keep people from trying to drive down that road. But it's a removable bollard, so if fire EMS, they can pull the bollard if need be.
That road, is that gonna be paved?
The new road would be, that section of
That
Buffalo will
that's
not.
rough, that's rough.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, we don't want to encourage people using that. The town uses that to access the water tower and the tanks. But now from the intersection up to where Mr. Woody's property is going, that entrance, that would be paved. So he's rebuilding that to a town standard, and it would be paved up to his entrance.
How is that, I saw the drawings right there, that the green space that you were planning to do, was that supposed to be trees on the one side where you had right there on the line?
This
Yeah.
right here?
Is that supposed to be
Those would be trees, yeah. We'd have a buffer and a vegetative buffer along that boundary line.
Okay, but you won't have anything on the other side of the church, correct?
Not over here, no ma'am. Yeah, the grade drops down really steep down there, so even if we had trees, it wouldn't block anything because the church is sitting up so high.
Oh,
Pretty good. And I think with your description of the proffers that you all are offering, and I would like to see that ninth proffer go in, if
Mhm.
council's all right with the controlling the traffic flow from 7 to 8 in the morning on the Valley Street.
It's probably not really acceptable as a proffer at this point, but you can make it a condition of the conditional use permit approval.
So, and I'd sent some language to Ms. Jackson later this afternoon, so we can work out the verbiage, and it'd be ready for you to take action on in a couple of weeks.
Whenever, yeah.
so if people are getting out of your apartment place by, around those times, they have to go all the way around to go back to school?
If they were dropping kids off, they could either make this connection right here, which would take you to the four-way stop, or they could come back out and go to the Mud Pike and then back out to theirs. Or they could walk. And that's the one good thing that we're seeing now is that at the other part of Kensington, just off the page here where the new townhomes have been built, we're seeing a lot of parents using the trail system that we put in that connects to the trail that runs back along the back of the baseball fields. So we're actually seeing parents walking their kids to school, which is good to see.
And they're all gonna be rentals, right?
These would be rentals, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments or questions? Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate it. Robert, you got anything, or did they cover
Just,
that?
yeah, questions to me, they do such a good job, they don't need me.
Okay, sounds good. So with that, I will close the public hearing. We will next. Close session. These are all the.
Yeah, right. I'd like to make a request for a closed meeting under Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A1 for the discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. The closed meeting is being held for discussion of personnel, specifically the treasurer, finance director position and benefits.
Second. That was formal.
Yes.
Now, second.
We have a motion and a second. Before we read the others.
Do you want me to, do we need to do a
This is-
motion for both at the same
Let's go
time?
ahead,
or
we'll
separate?
take a vote on the first one. Any comments, questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop, Councilwoman Bowman, Councilwoman Hicks,
I think on the one item,
Yes or
we're
no?
still gonna go into a closed meeting. I was gonna speak. I know we're still gonna go closed meeting, it doesn't matter, but I just feel like the one item should have been, not the land, but about the money should be spoken about in open meeting, let's say. So I'm gonna go. Nay, Yanni?
Let me clarify this. We're not discussing anything about a previous request. We're basically interviewing Ms. Malone on her qualifications to become, as recommended, to become the finance director of finance.
Oh, so we're not talking
No,
about
no,
the,
we're not doing that tonight.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
So now,
So yes,
yeah, thank you.
sorry.
Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins, Councilman Wilson,
Aye.
That is 6-0, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to request a closed meeting under Code of Virginia 2.2-3711A3 for the discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or of the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. The closed meeting is being held for discussion of potential purchase of property located on the northern side of Roanoke Street for public works purposes.
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion. Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Bishop, Councilwoman Bowman, Councilwoman Hicks, Councilwoman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Jenkins,
Aye.
Councilman Wilson.
Aye.
That is 6-0, thank you. We'll now go into closed session. We'll take about a 3 or 4 minute recess to allow the public to exit the room. I'm asking Public Works Director and Assistant to stay, and both of them, or first one at least. Katie, you'll stay, Dale. And the rest of you will